The second time you go to Aether Paradise, you can finally get the TM for Toxic. This allows you to replace Toxic with another TM move, and then replace the move you just got with Toxic again, which restores all of its PP. This trick will be very useful later. This Hypno was actually very annoying because he kept hitting Hypnosis and getting just generally lucky, which made the battle take way longer than I expected it to be in real time. These fights were actually all pretty annoying and a little bit harder than I thought. Not too bad, but I meant to get Protect for these fights and forgot to, so I had double team. As I said in the first part of this video, these battles where you're given an ally are extremely easy since Pyukumuku doesn't really have to do anything, and there are a ton of these battles back to back. Oh hey, it's everyone's favorite bat. Once again, taking advantage of Gallistopod's emergency escape is what's gonna make fighting Guzma so much easier. go. Now it's Purksenal. We have to win this fight. Actually, Lily shaking her head was right. We don't have to win this fight, but if we can, we will, at any cost. Yeah, no. And yeah, as you can see, if you lose, the cutscene still goes on. After a ton of cutscenes, it's just an Alolan Executor fight, which isn't too scary other than Woodhammer, but it's nothing Pyukumuku can't handle. Then there's just an easy, albeit annoying fight. Then there's a slightly more annoying and challenging fight with Team Skull, since most of their Pokemon are poison type. I have to soak them poison and they poison me, so it just takes a while. One thing I found strange about this fight is I soaked the Dugtrio, so he's now water type, so he should be hit by the sandstorm, but he's not. After you beat Team Skull, you're given Poison EMZ. This works well with Toxic because it raises my defense for a stage, which is helpful in the longer fights where I want to stall. There's nothing too special about the Dragon Trial display through. I just find it a little funny that our boy Jangmu over here likes to use Bide when counter is clearly the superior option. Unfortunately, you can't just lose the second fight against Lusamine. I found that out the hard way. And as we already know, you can't Toxic Stall this Clefable. My original plan for this fight was to taunt and hope the Clefable Metronome to physical attacking move, but it turns out that Metronome is not classified as an attacking move, which is good and bad. The bad news is that I can't finish the Clefable off with counter. The good news is that the only attacking move Clefable has is a 15 PP Moonblast. So all I have to do is keep taunting into Moonblast, and eventually the Clefable will have to use Struggle. On the way to the Elite Four, you have to battle two of my favorite Pokemon this run. I chose to battle the Fighting type Elite Four member first since I thought it'd be the easiest because I have Counter and Z-Toxic. I didn't feel like finding longer music, so here's my in-depth commentary. I'm getting hammer-armed. I'm using counter. Now he's poisoned, then he's done. It's down to the last member of his team. It's Polyrath versus Pyukumuku, who will win. He uses submission, but that's not enough yet, so then I just heal it up, and then he uses it again, and then he uses it again, and then I toxic him. Now he's poisoned. Now I protect so I don't take damage. But he's taking damage because he's poisoned. I could soak him, but it doesn't matter. He's fighting the water. During the Elite Four is when switching Toxic and Protect with other TMs, and then switching back to Toxic and Protect is the most useful since it restores PP. Though now instead of Protect, I'm going to be using Double Team since I'm not relying on counter like I was before. What do you mean I forgot to heal before the Elite Four fight? I decided to use my rare candies now because I was most afraid of the Rock and Ghost Elite Four members. This is the Elite Four member that I'm most worried about, so I use an X Special Defense because she has a Palossand with Giga Drain, and lots of her Pokemon have Shadow Ball, so I'm worried about my Special Defense being lowered. I used it turn 1 because I thought the Sableye would use Fake Out. Okay, so I saved my recording in game right before this fight because I was really paranoid that I'd run out of space for recording. And it's a good thing I did because I ran out of space right before I finished the fight. I tried my best to reproduce the original fight so it was more natural. And most of the fight was the same except the ending, unfortunately. I'll talk about it when I get there, but the ending was so much more interesting in the first fight, so I was pretty upset. As for the Lichen Rock, the Stone Edge misses were about the same. I think he had one more in the first fight, and in both fights he dropped my defense twice with Crunch. The Magna Zone was pretty much the same in both fights too. Both times I was ready with some X special defenses, so he didn't do much to me, and I soaked him just to get rid of stab too, and obviously so I could poison him. He didn't Thunder Wave me the first game, which wasn't too big a deal that he did in the second, because all I have to do is use a Paralyze heal and my poison still ticks for damage. Both games had the Bravery using Tailwind for whatever reason. I think Pyukumuku has a base stat speed of 5, so I don't know why he did that, but he did both games. In the second game, the Bravery hit way more Brave Birds too, which wasn't a big deal since it does have recoil, but it was a little annoying because I'd use a lot more healing potions. The Incineroar was always annoying because of Darkest Lariat. Because of this, I soaked him turn 1 so I could get rid of stab. It might have been better to get my rival Litten instead. I'm not sure if it would have been more annoying having more Incineroar fights or having this high level Incineroar fight. Either way, it wasn't too big of a deal because I was able to get past him. First battle, the Snorlax crit me right away when I was at a lower amount of health, so it almost killed me, but it didn't. So there is a close call in the first one, but it's not that bad in the second one. This Ninetales was where it really got interesting in the first fight. It went for Safeguard turn 1, and then would always go for Safeguard the turn after it went down. And because I didn't outspeed it, that meant that it would always have a Safeguard up. It was still a pretty easy fight because all you had to do was use a healing item that would have no effect if used on the Pokemon at that time. Like a Paralyze heal when you're not paralyzed. This would make it so you don't use PP, your turn goes by super fast, and you don't even consume the item. But in this fight, he doesn't even put up Safeguard before using a full heal, making the fight a lot easier, but a lot less interesting, so I was a little sad. Now it's time to rejoice, because Pyukumuku is the first champion of Alola. But the time to celebrate is short-lived, because there's still one more fight if we truly want to be champion. Oh yeah, I'm gonna win this, I'm gonna have to be prepared for his heavy hitters against Pyukumuku. Pikachu and Venusaur are the strongest against me. And the Venusaur was super annoying because he leech seeded Pyukumuku, which means that the whole fight I have to not only wait for the animation of leech seed, but it keeps sapping my health, man. Oh yeah, and he also almost killed me with Leaf Storm. As you can see here, the total runtime was 23 hours and 25 minutes. Though it did take a while and some parts drag on, I don't regret doing the run at all. It was a ton of fun figuring everything out. And now I'm going to show you guys a bunch of battles that were required but too small to show because I wanted the video to be shorter.